channeling my inner Hamza. Hello, welcome back to another video. Just wanted to say apologies for the long upload time. I've had a lot of issues with my microphone, and then there was uni stuff that got in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy a trend I saw this other YouTuber do. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head now, but I'll leave this link in the description. It's a 1,000 meals challenge. The only rules of the challenge are that I have to cook all my meals, and I have to have 4 meals, and I have to have 1,000 calories in each meal. So that reaches my calorie total, and I want these meals to be relatively healthy. So lots of vegetables, lots of protein. So this is going to be a different kind of style of video. I'm going to be voicing over a cooking tutorial. So I'm going to go through each recipe, give you a idea of what you're putting in it and how to cook it. Then after each meal, I'm just going to put in the calorie total, the protein amount, fat, carbs, all the macros. If there's any particular meal that interests you, or if you want to come back and follow a recipe, I'm going to timestamp below so you can skip between anything, and also leave all the recipes and their sources in the description. The first meal recipe needs an introduction. It's the classic bodybuilding, bulking meal. Got 5 eggs, some mushrooms, 2 bagels and some juice. If you've ever looked into bulking and nutrition and you've followed any bulking fitness influencers, you've seen this meal a million times, so not going to go into it in detail. So the next meal I made was a sausage and bean casserole. What I wanted to try and do was get a different source of protein with every meal, because one of the difficulties with doing this sort of thing is it's going to get really monotonous if I'm eating chicken 3 or 4 times a day. So that's why I've gone with sausage. The recipe called for white wine. I didn't have any, so I used apple cider as a kind of acidic alternative. I wouldn't recommend this. Mine was a bit too vinegary tasting, but anything you have will do. Got 2 cans of tomato in there. And we're going to give that a good stir. Don't splash it on the camera like I did. And that's how it's looking. Not too great yet, but it'll come together, I promise. And you're just going to leave that to simmer on a medium heat for about 40 minutes. And then once that's done, you're going to add a can of some sort of beans. You want to let that cook through, let the beans cook for about 5 minutes, and then you're ready to serve up. Bon appetit. And then a bit of season, of course. When I took my first bite, I was trying to not die from the amount of acid that was in my stomach lining. I was close to death, but then after that bit, it was nice. It was good. For our third meal, we're going to do another bodybuilding classic. We're going to be doing beef wraps. So I'm just cutting my vegetables, sick little edit there. And of course, you're just going to get some beef mince, put it on a pan with olive oil on a high heat. Let that sizzle, let that get brown. And then we're going to add our spices, a bit of paprika, about a teaspoon, some salt, some pepper, about a teaspoon of cumin, a sprinkle of cayenne chili pepper, and then we'll give that a stir. Plate that up so you're ready for the assembly, and we're going to get that pan hot again. We're going to put the tortilla in it, get it nice and warm, and fill it up with our toppings. We've got the meat, the cheese, we're going to add our vegetables, and then coming up, the most important part is how you fold it. This is a tried and tested technique. So you're going to grab both sides, fold it in, and then roll it with the sides tucked in, keeping it all together. I messed up a little bit on this one, lost some of my fillings, but you get the idea. Keep it all nice and tight and compact. Cooking's meant to be fun, so throw a little dance in there. I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah, maybe don't do this. Anyway, my second one was a bit more successful. You can see, nice and compact, and it all stayed in. Taste tests, these are really good. You can't really go wrong with beef mince and tortilla wraps. So yeah, very good, and that's the calorie information. Got all the ingredients there. Got some 5 chicken thighs, onion, ginger seasoning. Chop up the onion, have a sick edit there. Ooh, double sick edit. That's me crying because onions are my weakness. A little tip for the ginger, there I'm just showing you, when you try and use a traditional peeler, it's really hard to get into the nooks and the crannies. So my friend out-taught me, you just get a spoon, a teaspoon like that, and you use your fingers and you tear it off that way so you can get into nooks and crannies. some tomatoes as well, and we're going to mix all the onion, all the tomato and all the ginger together. Get some garlic in there as well, 3 teaspoons. I forgot to mention that thing I'm using there is called lazy garlic. Massively recommend it if you're cooking a lot. Got our seasoning ready. We've got a tablespoon of turmeric. Try not to spill it all over the tabletop like me. Second time's the charm. That's some paprika, some ground coriander. And then in here, we're just going to do some red wine cider. Don't sniff it, it doesn't smell nice. 2 tablespoons of that in there. And we're going to mix that with the sugar. My sugar was really hard for some reason, so I decided to bash it and it blew up all over my face and my hands. So again, avoid that, learn from my mistakes. Anyway, 2 tablespoons of that. Give that a mix. I promise this isn't me being lazy, I just couldn't find any butternut squash in the supermarket. They only had pre-cut, so can't be butternut squash. You want to get 600 ml of chicken stock ready. Use as many cubes as it says to use on the packet to make the stock mixture. Get that crush in a mix. Beautiful stock. Don't mind that man, I don't know who he is, he just lives in the house. Anyway, all our ingredients prepared. Just salt and pepper your chicken, both sides. And then we're going to start frying. You want to start the chicken, get that nice and hot, about 7 or 8 on the heat. Chuck in your chicken thighs, don't drop it on the side like that. And then just leave them to crisp up. This wasn't meant to stay in the video. Anyway, okay. Anyway, you want to leave it for about 5 minutes on each side or till it's nice and brown. And then you're going to chuck your onions in just like that. Very tasty. Give that a stir, leave it to cook until they're nice and tender. Get the spices in there. Add the kind of garlic, tomato, onion mix. Give that a stir, get it all incorporated. Reintroduce the chicken. Don't forget the chicken juice, that's good flavour. And then we're going to get our butternut squash in there. Give that a mix, get it all incorporated, and then the chicken stock goes in. Once that's in, we're going to add the sugar and the red wine, leave that to simmer on the hob.